Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This is my 10 favourite games ever. Kind of. Let's get into it.
Join the fight with no countdown.
So a bit of an introduction into this one first. I'm feeling a bit under the weather still, so apologies if the energy's lower and I sound a bit bunged up. Hey, it's the only slot I had to do a video, so we grind through it. Anyway, I was tagged in a video by Subliminal VCR regarding a challenge of sorts. Can you post your 10 favourite or best games ever? And then I saw a response by someone who was also tagged in the video, which was Razor's Retro, and he basically did a different take on it and said, I can't really do that, but I can give you my 10 favourite SNES games. So I'm going to go with something a bit different too, but still meet the challenge of sorts. Yes, they're my 10 favourite games ever for a variety of reasons, and that's either impact they had on me at that space in time, or how long I played it for, how playable I found it. It's not necessarily the best game, and I think some of these will really shock some people. Number 10 especially might shock a lot of people. No, that's not clickbait to hang around to the end of the video. I'm too old for that nonsense. It's just fact. I think it'll be quite surprising, but there's just some usually strong rationale or personal feeling behind each choice. So I'm going to go through it today. It's kind of a history of my gaming journey in a way. They're not in perfect chronological order, but I'll try my best, flesh out a basic timeline and give you a bit of insight into me gaming wise. And there's a big gap in the middle where I didn't game for years, and then I'll explain why and how I came back and stuff like that. So I have got a little notepad next to me which I need reference for, because it was just too damn hard to do a 10 favourite games list or 10 best. It was just too difficult, because there's games that I would have deemed better than some of the games in my list that I've played, but wouldn't necessarily had the impacts they had on me. So that's why I've gone for this specific list. But let's get into it. Number 1, my first computer was an Amstrad. Holy Amstrad, where you had to load tapes in that took like 5 to 10 minutes to load a game. Can you imagine showing the kids that now? Or young, youth generation out there going, yeah, I'll stick that tape in, it plays for 10 minutes, the game will be on soon. But like, what? Anyway, it was an Amstrad, and it came with literally like proper Dodge, a carrier bag of games in all these cassettes, because they were really cheap at the time. They were all garbage, all of them, and I was young, except one, and that is Eagle's Nest. Now, the reason this game sticks in there and is in the list is because it wasn't particularly awesome, even though it is a great game. It was a military-based game from an overhead perspective, really simple. Kill bad guys, be the good guy. Get through as many as you can. But the reason it's in the list is because that game made me go, and I guess there's a game for everybody somewhere, if you like video gaming, that this feeling you will have for your first game that got you into it. But that game, to me, just made me go, I love playing video games. Gaming is for me, more some than some other hobbies I might have had at the time, or stuff I like to play with, or sports. It was just like, I love this. And Eagle's Nest was the main contributing factor to me going, I love gaming and I want to carry on and be a bit of a geek. So Eagle's Nest, it was a great game. Would it hold up today? It'd be struggling massively. But honestly, for me, I wasn't particularly good at it. I don't remember ever completing it, probably didn't. In fact, I know it's highly unlikely, but it's just awesome. So Eagle's Nest. Then I went on to an Amiga. An Amiga was the floppy disk era. Who remembers them? And sometimes the game had 2 floppy disks. Do you remember this? When you had to get, it would say, you need to enter disc 2. You're like halfway through the game, and you're like, what? Take that one out, put another one in. And it's Sensible World of Soccer. Now, I have done a couple of videos on the channel actually. One of them was a masterclass in Sensible World of Soccer, and one of them is just a playthrough where I say I'm the best, I believe one of the best players of all time at management mode only. I wasn't particularly good at football or into it that much, or playing any football game really. But Sensible World of Soccer, the management, I like drilling into tactics. I like the transfer market. I liked going into other countries and discovering and checking lower leagues and doing stuff like that. I used to do, even on my own back then, I'll do a random European selection of any team in Europe, and then I'll go to the division lowest in that country, random select a team in there and try and win the Champions League with that team. Just proper addicted, loved it. So Sensible World of Soccer for me. And by the way, the masterclass basically shows you all the tactics that I use. If you still play it to this day, which there won't be many players, but the ones who do, that video takes you through exactly how to do it and win with anyone. But Sensible World of Soccer, massive fan of that. I then at some point probably navigated to each of the consoles you could get at home, but before that it was the arcade era. Now I'm going to go with a kind of game that wasn't really like this on the arcade, but I have to give this story first. Now first of all, this story is outrageous, okay? And you're going to be thinking, what? That doesn't even sound real. It's real. I'm too old to make shit up. It's real, all right? And it's ridiculous. Number 3 on the list is going to be Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which actually my main love for it came arcade as Street Fighter 2, and then the Super Nintendo version, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But let me explain why the arcade bit is in there. I loved arcades, couldn't afford to go that much, and in there at the time, all my favourites, which were really close to making the list, were Golden Axe, WrestleFest, Time Crisis came in later, Turtles. They were amazingly close to this list, and there is a wrestling one coming up, obviously, because I'm a geek, but I'll explain that in a bit. But back onto Street Fighter 2. Right, it's an outrageous story. I got into Street Fighter 2 big time, and very quickly I worked out I'm really good at Street Fighter 2 using Ryu. Most of us used Ryu or Ken, didn't we? But we did. But I did. Anyway, you might have the equivalent if you're not from the UK, but in the UK we have things called chip shops where you get fish and chips takeaway.
Mega Chippy.
And for some reason, back in, what is it, the 90s? It must have been the 90s. Chip shops used to have one arcade, most of them. Not like an arcade section, one cabinet. It was random. You don't see them anymore. And then it was usually Street Fighter. So I used to go in and play and slap people all the time. People used to challenge me and slap people. And there used to be a bit more arcades about, like, you know, in weird places. Anyway, it started to gain traction, and this is legit. It's absolute nonsensical, but it's honestly, it's straight up. I had quite a small group of friends, but my group of friends were more extrovert than me, so I had larger groups of friends in different areas. And there was no online back then, and Street Fighter 2 was such a big deal that it got to the point of who's the best from each area, right? So my span of friends used to say, oh, he's the best, as in no camp dad. At the time would have been a no camp boy. He's the best from this area. Nobody can hardly beat him. So they were like, we need to play so-and-so down the road, like miles away. It was like, what? So I had to go, before sat navigation and all that, to a chip shop, walk into like 14, 15 lads, waiting there like it was going to be a fight. By the way, I can't fight. And that was the atmosphere. I wasn't there. I was just to kick ass on Street Fighter. So I walked into this weird chip shop, right? Took on this kid in his home chip shop and slapped the life out of this kid. This is straight up. And then left. And that was it. And then for about a month, I don't know if they were betting behind the scenes or whatever, you know what I mean? I got a pound on it, whatever it was back then. But they took me on a tour of like chip shops and arcades for about a month straight on the weekends, slapping people on Street Fighter. Like, this is legit. And then that obviously came to an end one day, and I was known as a great player. Now, when it went to the SNES, again, another true story, it got ridiculous. Muscle memory was so tapped in, and anyone remembers the SNES controllers, they were like, God, half the size of this maybe, really thin, really lightweight, and you could hold them with one hand. And all I needed was the L trigger and the D-pad, because I used to just be able to do almost on without even thinking about it. Dragon Punch, Fireball, easy. And there was one time where it just started getting ridiculous. I beat a kid, again, legit. I had the controller, and I says, I'll use one hand, but I'm going to turn the controller upside down. Right? And then after that, I'm going to look away, and I'm going to play from the reflection in the mirror. So imagine a mirror was on the wall here. I played watching the mirror, which inverted everything. And I only just won, but still won. So I clearly got addicted to Street Fighter 2 on like a joke level. That's why Street Fighter 2 is in there. I just loved it and got really good at it. And that's why. On from there then, I did have a Super Nintendo. I had a Mega Drive for a very short time. I wasn't a Mega Drive kid, I was a Nintendo kid. I did have a Master System for a bit and an NES at different points. I remember having to kind of sell one to get the other. But I wasn't a Sonic kid, I was a Mario kid. And for that reason, number 4 is going to be Super Mario All-Stars. Now, the reason for this is we're onto cartridges now. And to have 3 or 4 was it 4? I don't know, but full games on a cartridge was incredible at the time. And I just loved Super Mario All-Stars. I'd probably played them all separately at points or owned them separately, some of them, but Super Mario All-Stars. It was one of the first times where I thought, I'm happy playing on my own, and I struggled to get bored. It's when you know you're a geek, like seriously. I loved it, and I just got good at them, like everybody, completed them, but would still play after. Most people, most kids, they'll complete a game and throw it. I just kept drilling on it. I just really enjoyed it. So Super Mario All-Stars. Same era, Super Nintendo, Zelda. Now, Zelda was my first game which I felt like was never ending. And remember, nowadays you can just go on YouTube, you can go in forums or whatever website and get walkthroughs to games. This didn't exist back then, right? You had word of mouth and you had gaming magazines that might give you a snippet now and then. That's all you had. So grinding was up to you, while Zelda was an incredible game. And again, most people would get bored or frustrated or give up. I didn't. I just thought I'm going to explore every inch of this game till I complete it all the way to its fullest. And I'd complete it and start again. That's how much I enjoyed that game. It was crazy. Obviously, I was very young at the time, but Zelda was just amazing. And it was the first game where I thought, I usually like competition the best. If you watch me over the channel, most of the time it's when competitions are involved or online gameplay. I just love thinking I can be the best at something. But this game was just like, I love the strategy of it, the depth of it. The music themes are crazy. By the way, if you've nobody watched this video, but I've got a video on the channel where you can get any game theme song ever from any game, all of them. It's amazing. Check that video out if you need to, for free. But anyway, yeah, Zelda was just incredible. I loved it. I have missed one actually. This might have been the Master System era. Looking at the list, and again, true story. I can probably show it on this. Although I'm too old now. But anyway, it was Track and Field, the original. I've missed that one, so dip that in the list. But Track and Field. Told you this timeline might be a bit out. Track and Field, I loved Olympics, I loved sports, running especially and stuff like that. And Track and Field, I actually had at one point, not factual but anecdotal, due to the forums we was in at the time, some world records on Track and Field, like for real. Because the only way you could find them was going through really deep forums somewhere or finding them years later. Because the internet didn't exist for a long time when these games are coming up, but it kind of made a comeback in various iterations. And I was just rapid on the controller. Like most people's technique was that, wasn't it? Well, mine was thumbs, like moving your whole body into it. It was weird, like, you still got it. Oh, too old. Anyway, that's annoyed me now, frustration. There we go. How I used to do that over and over again, I don't know, because that's knackered me doing that. But anyway, Track and Field. Now, turbo pads weren't really prevalent at the time, or controllers, and the ones, some of them that were out were garbage, so not many people owned them, and the press rate on the turbo pads was so slow that I'd be faster than some of them anyway. I mean, nowadays they'd destroy you, but back then they only had certain rates they'd meet. So I was just rapid on track and field. That was mainly because of that I, you know, really enjoyed track and field. Okay, where are we going to go to next? Right, I'm on to now. I went down my main kind of angles for gaming are, yeah, Nintendo. I was mainly a Nintendo and then an Xbox kid. I was rarely a Sega kid. Most kids in the UK were Sega, Mega Drive, Master System, Saturn. I never did really. I stuck with Nintendo, and I'm going to go for WCW versus NWO. I think it was on the N64. Now, the reason for this was quite simply, I'm a wrestling geek. You must know that from the channel. Straight up nerd, you know what I mean? It's just been there forever. Now, the only reason it pips WrestleFest, and this was a real tussle between which wrestling game I was going to put in, but I never owned... Made a weird noise then. You might not pick that up, but don't break on me. It costs too much. The only reason that it beat WrestleFest is because I never had WrestleFest at home. It was an arcade game only. It was just prior to Street Fighter. And when I went to an arcade in the end, it started becoming Street Fighter. Even though it was Hogan, Warrior, you've seen the video on the channel. I'm sure most of you have, that epic run with Sergeant Slaughter. But yeah, I never really played it as much as I would have wanted to. But the reason it's picked by this is because I left wrestling as a kid for years. It was on Sky at the time, WWF as it was then, now WWE. We couldn't afford Sky, so I never watched it. And then who remembers Bravo? Do you remember a channel called Bravo? On cable. It was random free channel. Well, it used to play on a Friday night, WCW. And that's when Sting, Hogan, NWO, Steiner, give me a break. This was free and I was like, this is amazing entertainment. And it's for like older audiences. It's not like the kid stuff it used to be. They swear and all sorts.
The last time this happened, you bastard!
So WCW, the show really drew me in. And then the game came out, and the game was a groundbreaking game. It was almost like the precursor to 2K, WWE 2K now. It was so playable. And again, I wasn't particularly good at it, but I just really enjoyed playing it. I had my characters on it from TV, real licensing, real moves. It was completely different to anything I'd played before, but I just drilled it for hours. So that's why it makes the list. Now, we're going to move on era a bit here. And again, this might be one of those that surprises people because we're near the end of the list. But there is a particular reason why this is on there, and it's Rainbow Six. Now, the reason Rainbow Six is on there is because I wasn't actually first out of my group of friends at the time to Xbox Live. Now, those who remember it and whatever the PlayStation equivalent was, you got to remember, kids today, you lot, it's normal to you. You put on a headset, your mates from school or whatever are online with you, completely normal, used to it. Well, that wasn't there for the first, well, how long was I gaming? 10 years? I don't know. Never existed. Then all of a sudden, I went around my mate's house and he went, you played Rainbow Six? And I went, nah, what is it? He was like, it's like Call of Duty, do you want a game? I was like, yeah. And he went, put that headset on, it's got Xbox Live. And I went, what do you mean? What's Xbox Live? I put this headset on and I could hear all these voices in the lobby. And one of the lads in there was someone we knew. And I went, he's in this game talking. What? What is this? And he was like, yeah, it's Xbox Live. And I went, dude, I need Xbox Live today. What do I got to do? So then I learned about Xbox Live and obviously I signed up. And then, you know, I posted a short before where I think I've got one of the oldest Xbox Live accounts probably in the world. It's past 20-year mark now. Even with the gap in gaming, I kept the account going just for the kids and for the Xbox to work on different apps really. But yeah, and it will come on to that bit. But Xbox Live was incredible. And Rainbow Six, so any young gamer at the time, this Xbox Live gimmick was mind-blowing. So all the lads would meet up a few nights a week, if not more, and the banter was on another level.
It was just banter.
You know, it was older gamers, it wasn't kids. It was crazy. It was just complete banter, getting into each other all the time. Clan matches, and it was like, what? Clan matches? With lads down the road? It was crazy. So Rainbow Six, I wasn't particularly good at Rainbow Six. I was just a good player who could clutch it up now and then. Clutch? You know what that trigger word means?
Third. One more hit and it's over. Last round, I tell you what, if I clutch this one up, one more hit of anything, even blocked, and it's lights out. One projectile, don't matter. Go, yep. This one's gonna hurt you, boy. Oh, I think we can go all the way with this. All the way. Clutch! God! Every night! Every night!
Every night! Every night!
Sorry, the word clutch just triggers the clutch god moment. That was a real moment online. Anyway, yeah, it was just amazing time. Forget how good you was at the game, who cares? It was just amazing. Like the banter, the camaraderie, the building of clans, the meeting new people. You know, we actually met people online that, you know, we met in real life in the end and built friendships off that. Crazy. People from different cultures. Like we had a friend from Canada at the time. This lad was amazing, and he joined our clan. And it was like, I'm speaking to someone from Canada. You know, like what? I'd never do this in real life. It was mind-blowing, and he was an amazing guy. But yeah, that's why Rainbow Six makes the list. Right, the next one. This, again, might be a massive surprise to people, and I don't think nobody in the world will have this list of games, but there is a reason for it again. It's Mortal Kombat, but it's not the one you think. It's Mortal Kombat Deception, which nobody in the world will pick out of their Mortal Kombat. It was when it went 3D for a few games. Let me explain. So again, this is legit, you know, I don't make anything up. Mortal Kombat Deception, I think first from my remembering was Deadly Alliance, and I got really good at that game, like really good. And then Deception came out, and oh my god, you talk about addiction, you talk about rabbit hole, you talk about, this was the moment. Remember, I had the Street Fighter moments in the past, but Deception was the moment I realised I can be an elite gamer when I go into geek mode. Now the reason for that, and what I mean is, and what I actually did on it, I would go in the practice room on my own for hours and drill, I mean hours, and not get bored, and recycle combos again and again until they were muscle memory. I knew every inch of every character on this game, like obscene. Every character on it I could have almost used as my main character. And what happened that meant was, and the reason I had 4 or 5 players, and then I thought, I'm going online, I want to know what's coming at me. So I'm going to learn all the others as well. Holy shit, wow. What happened was, it had 3 game modes. It had Mortal Kombat Chess, which was like a literal chess game, but when the chess pieces clashed, you'd have like a round or 2 with special parameters in it or something. I can't quite remember, but it was a longer match format. You had Puzzle, which was like Tetris really, and then you had Normal Combat. Well, I was ranked number 1 in these, all 3 of them at points, for a long time. Although Normal Combat mode, to be honest, the ranking system was completely broken. You'd lose one fight and then you'd be like rank 110. You're like, I've lost 1 fight. Nonsense, broken, but still quite the achievement. Now it weren't quite world number 1, because what you got to understand is, at the time, if you weren't from that era, and you might have been understand this, but you didn't have crossover play, you didn't have just change your region, so it was essentially Europe only PAL region Xbox players. That's what it was, but still quite the achievement. I mean, I was number 1 on 3 of these modes, and I think 3 in the end, until the game was dead. By I mean dead, I mean dead. Nobody online. I would leave it searching for players, sometimes doing something else, and occasionally a player would pop up and they'd be like 0 and 0 on the stats, and you knew someone would just bought it, and I'd be like, oh, I can't destroy this kid, he'll never play again. I can't go into beast mode, I'm an elite player with thousands of victories, you know. And also, people would see your stats and go, well, I ain't playing him. I'm out of there. That's a joke. Because honestly, it was like 70-30 in my stats, like win-loss ratio. It was ridiculous. So anyway, this is where kind of almost my game break came in. And there is a reason behind it, kind of. So this game died. Now, the next iteration, and why this is important, because it's leading on to why I took a break from gaming. The next iteration of Mortal Kombat was a game called Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Well, now, look, I'm an elite player. I'm known for it. Because, by the way, we had a European League on Deception through forums where we all met each other. Like, we're talking the full geek level people. There was no real, like, tournaments back then. Like, you know, pro level stuff that was big, you know, put on for you, and game, you know, developers put them on and stuff. That didn't happen. So we made our own one, and it was over a 6-month period. I came second in that. There was a dude who was just too strong. Anyway, the only one who took points off him was me, but he still whipped my ass. Yeah, so that's how deep this cohort of people was like, Armageddon is in America only. It's US. It's not going to come out in Europe. Devastated. Because by this point, I'm dedicated to one game. I'm so down this rabbit hole, I'm not really playing anything else. This is why it's making the list. So Armageddon comes out, and I'm like, well, I've got to get Mortal Kombat Armageddon. I don't care what it takes. So I started researching, and I found out if you bought an American US Xbox and the game, so I bought one off eBay, got the guy to agree to send it to the UK, crazy. Back then, now it's lightweight. That's light. But back then, you know, it was crazy. So anyway, I got it, and all I had to buy to make it work was the adapters for, God, would it have been a SCART lead? It might have been a SCART lead at the time, and the plug adapters for US plugs into, you know, UK plugs, which I bought as well. And it worked. It would send you into US servers from the UK because it was just an American Xbox. So I started on this game, and I thought, well, this is me for another few years. Let's take it onto a new level. We're going to meet all these new players. I can't wait. I'd have good games, and then the lag, because that's just how it worked. Remember, broadband is not on the level it was now back then. I got lag so much. It destroyed so many games. It was unplayable in the end. And you just couldn't keep up. And I was like, oh, this is so frustrating. I can't get into this game. Because I'd practice for hours to have a lag fest and 7 fights in a row with lag, and I'd be like, I'll give up, just turn it off. So I quit. And then what happened was career stuff came in, got dedicated to career. You know how it goes, it's either work, it's either kids, it's either family or whatever. And it just all came crashing down. And I didn't play games for years. And then that's going to nicely take us on to, it's more of a long ass vlog, this video, I apologise, but it's a nice story to tell. And everything in here is legit. And this last choice is going to really surprise you probably, because I don't think many people would have this in their list, but there is a specific reason why, so bear with me. Number 10 in the list of my best stroke favourite games ever is Fortnite. Now bear with me. Why the hell are you choosing Fortnite, No Camp Dad? Wow. So my Xbox account kept on going. As I said, one of those fools who never turned off the subscription, would use it for apps now and then, movies or YouTube or whatever, so I just kept it going. Anyway, No Camp's son, who you've seen pop up in some videos and that, started playing games as he got older. And I saw him playing Fortnite, and I saw him getting frustrated, and because he was only small, by the way, God mode now. Have you seen some of them shorts I posted where I reference him? I'll say when it's No Camp's son, but guy's elite. Anyway, when he first started, when he was younger, I could see he was struggling. Now remember my history. I've gone, oh, I could help him out. I don't like seeing him upset or bothered. Let's do this. So anyway, I started playing with him. Oh my God, I was atrocious. Garbage Fortnite player, right? So the reason it's selected is because it is the birth of a load of things at once, and I'm going to tell you all those now. Number one, it was the bonding time we had. We played duos together all the time. No recording, no YouTube, just me and him playing duos. real bonding time, him teaching me stuff about this game and me trying to help out and learn, and realising I'm trash at this game and thinking to myself, where are all these skills? I used to be a really good gamer. Where are all these skills gone? Am I really that bad? So anyway, and then he said to me, you're garbage, Dad. I'm like, I'm not garbage. Some of the stories I've said in this video, I told him, he didn't believe me. I don't blame him, because they seem like nonsense, and all he's got to go off is me being garbage on Fortnite, right? So I've gone, hey, listen, this is just not my type of game. If I could get into these games, I'd be elite. And he was like, no, you couldn't do it. I went, I could do it. And then he says, all right, prove it. So this is a kind of discussion brewing for a bit, right? And he finds me this YouTuber called Bush Camp Dad, who's a really old boy over in the US. Guy must have 20 years on me. I call myself the elite old gamer. Anyway, this guy just camps in a tree for the entire thing and has a ton of subscribers. I don't know how. I don't know how you don't find that boring. That's not a shot. That's not a shot at you. No shots fired, Mr. Bush Camp Dad. All due respect, sir. I'm just giving an opinion. And he said, look, he can do it and he's older than you. And I went, yeah, I could do it. Except I wouldn't be I'd be Push Camp Dad, which probably would have been a better name, but I thought it was too much of a geek play on words on Bush Camp Dad. So I went, because I wouldn't camp, I'd push. And he went, oh, you mean like you kind of be like a no camp dad, wouldn't you? And I went, that's it. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to document it. And I said, I know over the coming few years, I'm going to have some epic moments. And he went, no, you won't. I went, I will. So it was like born out of bonding, and it was born out of trying to show the kids, I was once a cool kid, and trying to be a cool dad. That's where it all came from. And that was my driver to do stuff. So for instance, the genuine feat got up to, I think it was like 420th in the world on Rocket Racing, which is a small niche game, yes, but a racing game inside Fortnite. And that was born out of doing challenges for him originally, because he couldn't get to grips with Rocket Racing. So he was like, would you want to try? And I was like, yeah. A day later, I was like, I'm really good at this game. And he was like, what? And I was like, no, I am. I don't know why, but I am. And that's why I got into Rocket Racing massively, and am a world-class player on it. That's not a flex. None of this video is a flex. It's just an honest appraisal of what's been going on over the last year. And then he'd see me doing challenges and he'd go, like, he saw the Golden Axe one and stuff, and he might give it a try. He doesn't really do retro gaming. Obviously, Golden Axe and that to kids these days. Come on, not many kids are going to pick up that and go, this is amazing. They're going to go, this is garbage compared to what I play. And he was like, how did you do that? How are you so good? And I went, I don't know. It's just what I do. So anyway, he soon started to realise. Then we started to play more duos and we started to win. And I've still got the first clip of our first ever Victory Royale together on my phone. And we got Mini No Camp Son coming through now. He's looking at games. He's a lot smaller, but he's looking. You can see him going, I'm coming. But anyway, so there might be like a three-way dance soon. But anyway, that is why Fortnite makes the list. It's a birth of bonding time with my kids and the rebirth of me gaming. And, Rocket Racing, I'm an elite player, but Fortnite Battle Royale, I'm actually a bit garbage. Kids will slap me on it. I don't particularly play it a lot, and I'm not particularly good at it either. I have some epic moments now and then when I really get into it, but not really. I don't play build mode because I never got my head around that, and I'd get absolutely destroyed. But it doesn't matter. It's not about how good you are at stuff, It's the things it did with the kids, and then the interests we would have, and talking about games and looking at new games coming up. And then obviously we go to wrestling shows, so playing WWE 2K together, or him showing me stuff on that. It's just great, and that is why Fortnite makes the list. And finally, I'd just like to say, as this kind of gaming journey, my aim now is to keep driving. Obviously, it's amazing when you start from 0 subscribers and you start seeing them clock up and nice comments. But you know what's been the best? Meeting some amazing people on here that are like-minded like you, that are down the other end of the camera that you've never really met or spoke to, but you know there's a kind of affiliation there where you kind of respect each other's views and viewpoints and interests and have similar, and you're not on your own, and there's people like you out there. Because overall, I'm quite a private and introvert person, you know. Hey, this video's been long enough. I need to sign off. Lots of you have probably signed off. If you're still here, mad respect to you. Thank you. But that's why Fortnite makes the list. That's why I'm enjoying the YouTube. It's the community aspect. That's why I'll be here for a little bit, doing what I'm doing, trying to produce more epic moments, some help out videos, and some damn entertainment when the time calls for it. That's my 10 favourite games ever. There is a section for honourable mentions. I'm not going to go into these. I'm just going to mention some of them and the reason they're close. Some games on that list are WrestleFest, Sonic, Resident Evil, Call of Duty, other iterations of Rainbow Six, because that stayed around for a bit, other iterations of Mortal Kombat, Wave Race, believe it or not, Mario Kart, Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64, that was insane at the time. Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong World, that was insane at the time on the SNES. This is kind of the honourable mentions, and I could go on with them, to be honest, but those are the games whereby I was like, Alien 3, anyone remember that on the SNES? That game was damn hard. Loved that game. I loved games that were really challenging to me. I was like, I've got to beat this game. You can't beat me. There's got to be a way to do it. Zelda 64, although I preferred the SNES version, but you could go on. Those are kind of, you know, my selection of games. Honourable mentions, and the last one would be just wrestling ones. Royal Rumble on the SNES. They were god awful, really, but I'd play them all day because wrestling was my passion as a kid. Still is, you geek. What you on about? Anyway, that's the end of this video. That has been a long ass vlog. It's been nice to do a different type of video. I don't normally do long ass vlogs with no gameplay, but hopefully for those who take the time out to watch this video in full, or if you ever got time to go back and flick between it, now you know about a bit about my history, and we ain't going nowhere. We're going to take No Camp Dad to the next level. You know the catchphrase by now. Take care. Bye bye.